political season, and a lot of people are factoring in what's happening in politics. And if you think about what just happened over the last few months, I think it emphasized how little we should really care about politics. We have a
Right.
president that's been shot at twice, and the news story has already changed.
Hmm.
We had a old man as a president for a long time. Everyone defended that. Now that he's gone, they all admit he's been old, right? So the storyline
I
changes.
think he's still there, but who knows, right? Like,
Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean.
yeah.
I don't know if physically or mentally that would be the case.
Oh,
But the point is that the storyline has changed already. So a lot of times people are concerned about something that even if it were to occur, we would move on so fast. I mean, these videos that we're making right now are 30 seconds long because people's attention span is so short. So
that's it.
it's one of those things that life keeps going on. So politics is a real subject matter. There's real implications, taxes, etc. But the cycle moves so quickly that you can't be so concerned about any individual looming legislation.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, currently the tax environment, it remains favorable for real estate investment, but there's no guarantee that that's going to continue beyond 2024. I mean, when you think about capital gains, treatments, 1031 exchanges, pass-through income deductions, they're all on the table for potential reform. But we're also in an election year, so you've got two individuals throwing out everything that they think is going to potentially stick, and then they see what sticks with their voters, and then they go through to the election, and then they're elected to office, and then newsflash, everyone, most of the time all of these big crazy ideas kind of just fizzle. Because there's so many other variables at play and macro forces once an individual is elected. I think it is that moving target. I mean, we have a Democrat in office right now, yet it is still a great environment or a strong environment for investors. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about kind of where we are today in the political environment, all the headlines you're reading, people being shot at, and capital gains. This presidential candidate is going to tax us 50%, whatever. Just understand the environment and what you're reviewing, and continue to kind of build your strategy. As we talk about right now, there's two choices that come November we'll have a better understanding of which of those two choices is going to be leading our nation for the next 4 years. But start building your strategy kind of concurrently right now, and don't be caught off guard. I mean, we've got plenty of time in terms of being prepared for an election for who is going to come out as the next president of the United States.
Yeah, policies are always interesting. Sometimes they revert pretty quickly. Other times they stick around for a while, but then your strategy changes. So,
Mhm.
for example, rent control was a big thing in Minnesota and St. Paul. Rent control was a big thing in certain areas of Minnesota for a while, and now a year and a half in, there's already talks about reversing a lot of those policies.
Yeah.
However, New York has rent control several decades ago, and that's kind of been the case. But values have gone up, even though your rents are more capped. So it's a different strategy. When you look at the value added tax in Europe, there's already a lot of calls to repeal that. One, because it's very difficult to track people's funds and how much value they have and what they own. And so that's kind of being curtailed. It's one of those things where I always say real estate is a passive enough where it's not going to be 100% passive. You have to
Right.
monitor it. But if I look at buying treasury bills, which are deemed a safe bet, and I start reading articles about treasury bills like, hey, the US dollar is going to collapse, we're so high in debt, we can't pay the back on debt. Like, what confidence do I have in the US treasury? If I look
Right.
at, so I can, the S&P, that's a better place to put my money. So no matter what, you're still philosophy that you have to go by. And I think real estate gives you, I guess, enough control and enough upside to make it worthwhile. But you should definitely plan out kind of how to play different scenarios.
Yeah, and counter to what all these, I call them clickbait gurus, are going to tell you, that in the real estate world of this is not a get rich quick strategy. We don't convey that as being the key to success. The reality is if you invest in a property today, you're going to hold that property, if you hold it correctly, for multiple presidencies. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, if you have a 10-year hold on a new construction piece of real estate, that's 2.5 presidential terms that you're going to be holding this real estate. That there's a refi in there somewhere to kind of help you get into new properties, leveraging that appreciated value. But I mean, this is not a short term. Oh man, if Kamala wins, if Trump wins, this is no. It's going to be the next president after that. I mean, this we're playing the long game here because that's where true wealth is built.
Yeah, so really good points there. Um, you're playing the long game, yes. You're also able to. It's also not all good or all bad either. And so you'll have people that will say, "Oh, it's collapse of whatever," or "Oh, we're guaranteed to double." The truth is somewhere in the middle. There'll be a mixed bag. So going specifically into policies, if we get rent control, that would suck. But if we get 250K per new home buyer, that'd be great. So 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 it's a mixed bag. On the Trump side, if I get lower taxes, great. And pretty much that's his only policy. If you get lower taxes, great. So but there's always a mixed bag somewhere, and so you got to be okay with that and continue to plow forward. This is why I value financial education so importantly. And one of the things that people don't often get are the four ways of building wealth through real estate, which
Yes.
is the cash flow, the debt pay down, the appreciation, and the tax benefits. And when you factor in those four things, there's nothing else that can compete with it. Which is funny because people feel comfortable spending $80,000 on a car that guaranteed will depreciate in value. There is no upside to buying an $80,000 car. It will depreciate and depreciate fast. But they're so concerned about real estate, where historically real estate has done phenomenally well over the years. And it's you can't put a car next to a property. They go in the opposite direction every single time.
Yeah, I'm seeing way too many $110,000 cyber trucks going around that are just missed opportunities driving past.